Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Starfield news video, and I'm sure you guys have seen the title already, so yeah, unfortunately Starfield has been delayed. It's been pushed back to next year, so let's jump in, have a look at Bethesda's statement, and have a little chat about this one. Okay, so yeah, sad news today, if not entirely unexpected. Bethesda have posted this afternoon that unfortunately both Redfall and Starfield have been delayed back until next year. So let's kick things off and have a little look at the statement that Bethesda have put out up on their various social medias. So, we've made the decision to delay the launches of Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arkane Austin, Redfall, and Bethesda Game Studios, Starfield, have incredible ambitions for their games, and we want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. We want to thank everyone for their excitement for Redfall and Starfield. That energy is a huge part of what inspires all of us every day and drives our own excitement for what we are creating. We can't wait to share our first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon. Thank you for your support. So, short and sweet, to the point, no messing around with that one. So yeah, I think this delay for Redfall is perhaps less surprising than for Starfield. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute, but Starfield obviously is the big one. Their previous date of 11/11 was obviously a dream that they wanted to hit. It's pretty much the ideal date. The 11/11 thing is a big BGS date. It's their preferred release date, basically. So it's definitely not something they'll have made a decision on lightly. Some of you might have seen a picture Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, posted recently. It was a couple of days ago now when he visited Bethesda Game Studios in Maryland. Yeah, my guess would be that a major part of that is to get an update on what they're doing and how they're doing, and probably to discuss this delay. So, obviously, work's still underway. We know they didn't really enter the final polishing stages for the game until relatively recently, so pushing it back till the early part of next year, the first half of next year, is not hugely surprising. It's disappointing and unfortunate, obviously, but I think probably good for their game. A few extra months. We know that's basically a 6 months window at the start of next year, so it could be any time up until June of 2023 it could come out now, so that's pretty vague. My guess is we'll actually get a more confirmed release date on it, probably the early part of next year. So, very up in the air now, but it gives them more time to polish things out, make sure everything's working the way they want it to. There were a few leaks recently talking about Starfield, so I've got to wonder whether or not discussions around whether spaceflight in particular is as good as it could be and things like that might have had some impact on whether or not they decided to make sure it was perhaps as good as possible and push things back a bit more. So things like that might have had an impact, and probably countless other things that we can't be aware of and that Bethesda obviously don't share. So we've seen a few games in recent years that have been delayed like this. It's not surprising. COVID obviously has a massive impact on these things, and although most of that, the worst of it, I suppose, has blown over now and life is somewhat returning to normal for people. Obviously, the knock-on effect will still be sort of rippling on down the line, so not hugely surprising to see that. That plus, obviously, a big, very, very ambitious game, new engine, and their efforts to make it as good as it possibly can be and iron out as many bugs as possible, obviously requiring a bit more time. So yeah, definitely a good thing for the game overall. We've seen what happens when companies don't delay things enough in recent years as well. Games don't land as well as they should. They're not in the best state when they launch. And even BGS with the commentary around 76, which a lot of that's nonsense, to be honest, but not all of it, sadly. So they've been burned in the past on things like this, so definitely a sensible decision for them to push things back, I think. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. I know for me, obviously, that's going to have quite a sizable impact on me, and I'm not overjoyed about that impact, but if we get a better game for it, it'll be worth the wait. I'm definitely still very excited for it. It does put a bit of a blow to the hype machine, of course, but yeah, definitely still looking forward to it, definitely excited. And we'll have to put some extra gameplay in there, some extra streams and stuff that will sort of fill the gap up until Starfield does launch next year. Obviously, they're still confirming here that gameplay is going to be shown in June. That's about a month from today, actually, as I understand it, the Xbox Showcase. So we'll see both of those games then. I don't think the lack of gameplay, I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, they've not shown any gameplay, it's no wonder they've delayed it. That's absolute rubbish, to be honest. It's meaningless. Bethesda don't show gameplay until the last minute. They never have done. They never will do. Arkane, less so, although there's more to talk about there. But the fact that the gameplay hasn't been shown until now, it's got no bearing on this whatsoever. And those who are saying it does don't know what they're talking about, period. That's all there is to it. It's not changing anything. In fact, what we're actually getting now is gameplay earlier than Bethesda would normally show it. Conversely, you could expect, like, seeing it nearer to Christmas rather than now. They're not changing that plan, but that will be more to the norm of what they're doing. This has got nothing to do with the delay. But, yeah, as I say, good thing that they're taking the time to work on it. Redfall, as I say, is a little less surprising. For those who don't know, Redfall is Arkane Austin's new game that's coming up. It's supposed to be released at the end of this year. We've heard very, very little about it. The game is a co-op, team-based PvE shooter, wherein you are in a town that has been taken over by vampires, basically, and you've got to fight them off. You've got some unique characters. It's a bit like the kind of the operator vibe of things like Apex and stuff like that, in that they have specific archetypes and playstyles and stuff. And you form a team of various characters and fight off the vampires. That's about all we know. We've seen some cool early sort of promotional trailers, and that's about it. I'm not really surprised to see that delayed, because that really is about it. With Starfield, we've seen obviously the stuff Bethesda have been putting out. We've seen chatter about it in interviews, but we haven't really seen anything like that for Redfall. We haven't seen many interviews or anything like that. So I would expect it to have at least some of that if the game was due to release at the end of the year. So I'm not massively surprised by that. Obviously, Arkane, much like with Bethesda and the other Bethesda studios, they have several locations. As the Austin one, the Xion one is the most famous one that did Deathloop recently and Dishonored and stuff. So that's the more famous location. The Texas one, the Austin, Texas location, is the slightly less well-known one that's working on this, whereas the Xion one presumably are contributing, but they're also working on other stuff. So, yeah, not massively surprised by that one. Little more surprised about Starfield, but not hugely. But yeah, definitely saddened, but probably a good thing in the grand scheme. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what they've got for us in the summer. Definitely want to see that gameplay and get a little look at it. We'll, of course, continue covering Starfield up until it launches, and looking forward to diving into it when we get our hands on it next year. But for now, apparently the wait has got a little bit longer. What can we do? So, on that note, I hope you guys found this useful and informative. If you did, please do drop likes and subs. I very, very much appreciate it. Down below the video, as always, you find social media links, merch store, and channel memberships if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way. Really, really helps out, so massive thank you for everyone who's done that already. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well. For now, we're playing Fallout 76, which of course we'll be continuing, and we're playing Mass Effect 3. And yeah, when the time comes, we'll be streaming probably both Redfall and Starfield, but that's going to have to wait till next year. So, if you get a chance though, do join us for the live streams in the meantime. We have a lot of fun, so I do hope I'll be seeing you there. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.